So welcome back to Banbury, the Belief Elite National Touch Series. This is round number 1. And just quickly, just before we get into the commentary for our second game, just do apologies for any of the breakup. If you missed any of our opening game, the match will be on demand later if you'd like to watch that back. It did finish up Wigan 12, Exeter 6. But our attention now is with the Bareback Riders against Hot Custard, and it's Hot Custard who get off to the perfect start. But I'm delighted to say I'm joined with Ben Meakin from Wigan Touch Warriors. Ben, a good opening win.
Yeah, it was tough. The first half was hard, but second half we seemed to run away with it a little bit, and it was a good game. They fought really well in that first half and showed their class at times.
Did you feel that just that couple of minutes before and after half time when he got those 3 tries were just the key moment in the game?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was a bit more of the experience, just before half time and just after half time. Their key points as Clark Hobson runs through, gets caught at half. So yeah, it was a good game. It was a good start. It was tough. It's just what we needed, but we lost the play, which was tough.
So here we go, yes, our second game of the afternoon here, or I should say the morning, of pitch number 1. Bareback Riders against Hot Custard. It's already been a electric opening couple of minutes. And both sides, including players from the Scotland and England setups as well. So both sides, a lot of experience.
Yeah, especially the BBR. They're national champions from last year. They have been for a long time. They've got a lot of international players from England, Scotland and Wales. So you see their lineup is all international. So they should be a good side, and they'll have the experience here, I think.
So as we look at Bareback Riders in their pool, they have Wigan Touch Warriors, of course, yourselves, and Thames Valley Vikings, and then Pool C, Hot Custard, Exeter Raptors and Crewe and Natwich. So it is A against C and then B against D in the pool matches, as Bareback Riders look to try and reply through the middle. Good quick turnover of play, looking to spread the play out wide, but back into the centre. Looking to get on the scoreboard, looking to try and get an equalising try.
Good touch from Angus Goff there, just to stop that score.
And looking to go through, although not on this occasion. But Bareback Riders, like you said, just so much experience, and they won't be phased going 1-0 down inside the opening couple of minutes. Well, they'll just think, let's keep just ploughing away, and it'll come good in the end, in a sense.
Yeah, absolutely. A bit like the game that we played. First half's always relatively the same. I mean, the experience always shows in the second half, and I know BBR will look to show that experience in the second half. But
yourselves, obviously, getting yourselves on the scoreboard, first opening win. How important is it, getting that first win under your belts? Just the confidence to go for, going later into the other matches today.
Yeah, massive, because this is it's a very new team. Yes, Wigan have been around for a long time, but there's a fair few new players in that team. So it's my first game for Wigan. A few of the girls, their first game for Wigan. So actually, the first half was better than we thought, considering no one's really played together. And it came together in the second half, and the experience showed in the end.
No, it certainly did. A good opening victory as Hot Custard looked to try and get their second try of this first half. Looking to go through the centre once again. Harry Goldman in the thick of things through the centre, looking to try and break through that Riders' defence. Standing strong, full of experience. Turnover possession, and now the Bareback Riders can come again.
Nice little fall over by Ryan Meamsek there to get the touch and pass.
Here they come down right hand centre, looking to go through the middle. Quick turnover, quick passes, getting some yardage straight at the field. Referee's brought it back.
I think that was a penalty for offside, so 6 again from the halfway. It's pretty much a tap off when the BBR looks to score here.
Well, it certainly will. 6 more touches to go, 5 down now. So here we go, 5 minutes in. Still Hot Custard leading by 1-0. Right. Charlie Brett, Scotland mixed open in the middle of things with a white cap. And here he is again, dives in.
That was nice. So that was a Scotland Mixed Open play. Both players from Scotland Mixed Open. Lewis Burns with a nice little quickie. So he steps on the outside, receives the ball back. Nice little step, young player, step into a hole, and that's a really good dive to finish.
So we saw, in your game in particular, and obviously in the opening couple of minutes, it's just, we were talking with Chris, in the game, how the tactics in the opening couple of minutes, you're already thinking ahead 20 minutes later of how you can open up the defences maybe in the wider parts of the game if you're looking to go through the middle in the early stages.
Yeah, I guess in a 40-minute game, you're always trying to figure out what the other team's doing to try and exploit that in the second half. So there, BBR are looking to go through the middle, and then maybe in the second half, the defence will stay tight, so they'll go long. But it'll be interesting to see what tactics they bring in the second half here.
It certainly will be, as Hot Custard tried to break through on that occasion, although stopped just at the last. It's like number 20, Angus Goff, number 22. Jonathan Alwis looking to go through. Goff again. Alwis looking to try and break through. Stops. Goal line. It's a turnover possession. Looking to go through the centre. Bareback Riders. Quick play looking to try and go through. Although penalty conceded.
That's twice in a row now. Custard have given a penalty at halfway. You know what happened last time, so see if they can do it again. Same setup, I guess. Lewis Burns coming on.
He certainly did. If you look, Charlie Brett in the centre once again.
And they've given another penalty away here.
This one? Yeah, I think so.
So Bareback Riders looking to try and get their second try on the scoreboard. Hot Custard giving away those penalties, giving those the chances, and here we go, and in they come. And that's the second, and that was what we just talked about previously, almost just drawing in the defence into the middle, and those spaces opened up out wide.
Yeah, it's a Scotland score again, so instead of stepping in this time, Lewis Burns just goes on the outside, because last time he stepped in, and he's got a long ball, and it's a great finish on the wing.
It certainly is. So 8.5 gone after being 1 down. Bareback Riders back to 2-1 up, and as we said earlier on in the game, weren't phased by being 1 down. But here come Hot Custard, number 34, Henny Strauss in the middle, looking to try and work the angle for his teammate, looking to try and create himself as an option. Henny Strauss, and now out wide. Just taking their time. Romana McElswitz, although the turnover is now back with the Bareback Riders. And there they come, they're so quick and so electric every time. Charlie Brett always looking to be in the thick of things every time he's on the ball. Gareth Revel also there, the red cap on. And now with that number 4, Clark Hobson.
Yeah, Custard giving another penalty away there. This might kill them in the end, because they're going to get loads of... Well, BBR is going to score because they are that good in attack. So if Custard are going to give penalties away, BBR will exploit them, and like they're going to try to do here. Nice. Gareth Revel, Wales mixed open player. I think he's been playing for years. Well, he has been playing for years, and he just shows his experience there. He's without his little protege here, so Louis Trey isn't here, who normally does his counties, but he's showing that he can do it. Louis, if you're watching, that's how you do it, mate.
Well, they have got a few players out this weekend, so I'm sure Gareth Revel will want to try and be a key focal point, as much of course he has been over the years. And 3-1 down, and you've said it a couple of times, if you're giving away penalties, 10 metres away from the goal line, you're always going to be in trouble, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly, and that's why you don't want to give penalties away in your own defensive half. If you do, then you're going to let scores in, and that's what's happened. Oh, but
here they come again, Hot Custard, and Referee just deliberating and does give the try. So that's a really good response from Hot Custard just out on the wing. It was really quick.
Yeah, so it was a good set-up play. They ran a quickie. The link stepped in to make the touch. The quick dump, and then I think it was Angus Goff that threw the long ball to the wing. It was a good finish, bit like the first one, their first score actually.
Yeah, it certainly was. And that is just what Hot Custard would have needed. But now they need to be a bit more defensively sound, as the Riders look to go through the middle once again. Those experienced players proving their class.
Oh.
Clark Hobson.
Did he score that? No. No, he's given the score. He's given the touch. Clark Hobson there getting on the outside. Bit of a high dive, Tom Daly type dive. What's that penalty for? Is that for offside, I think? Yeah,
it looks
so
like it.
You got Ryan Mimsek and Clark Hobson. These two have been playing for years. England mixed open players to then England men's open players. They've known each other. They are best friends, and they actually know what everything's doing. So you'll see them feature quite a lot in this game.
How important is that chemistry in the side when you've just got those little partnerships? Of course, yourself as a new player for Wigan, you know, just how important is it to establish those partnerships with the two middles or the middle and the link? And you just got those little almost duos just working together.
Yeah, I mean, chemistry is massive on the field, and if anything like Ryan and Clark, they've got the chemistry off it as well, which makes it fun on the field. Oh, is that another score? No, that's a good touch by the winger though. Yeah, so their chemistry on and off the field, it shows, and that's why they are some of the best players in Europe.
Certainly. As Hot Custard look to try and get back to 3 apiece. Although the turnover of possession here, 13 minutes gone. The Riders leading by 3 points to 2. And just a reminder, our next game after this will be another Elite Pool action. Nottingham Hoods against Chester Cheetahs.
My old team, Nottingham.
Okay, right. So you'll be interested to see how they get on.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to watching them.
And then they come once again, number 8, Pappas for the Riders looking to go through. Not on this occasion. So starting from the back, Hot Custard looking to try and make the yards. So Angus Goff, of course, the England mixed open player for Hot Custard, real pinpoint in this team. Where is that number 34? Annie Strauss. Looking to try and create the options, looking to try and create the angles. Jinks one way, then goes the other. Quick layoff. Manages to just keep it in. Here's Strauss again.
Good hands. Oh, unlucky.
That would have been quite a nice little layoff if he'd managed to just pull that one off.
That could have been try of the day already, but unfortunately it went to ground, and BBR are going to start their drive now.
So here come BBR once again. They just seem so quick every time they get possession back. They're off and away.
And again, they've given a penalty. Custard have given a penalty away. And basically, this is a tap-off, and we look to score tap-offs pretty much every time. They're starting at halfway, so they should just run their tap-off play, and they'll look to score or get another penalty. And with their older statesmen on now, I think they'll have a pretty good crack at this.
Yeah, Gareth Revel in the middle. He's got the ball at the moment with a red cap on, the Wales mixed open player. He's almost a linchpin in this.
Couldn't done the ball though. I think his hinges are getting a bit rusty.
And they come again, and it was Clark Hobson going through.
He tried that dive again, and it's worked this time. They run a sweeper play. Look, Clark Hobson coming from deep. They actually get the touch on the wrong middle, but Clark steps in and then steps out with a nice little dive.
Yeah, lovely play.
Would have been watching that. I'd have been good at the sevens this weekend, wouldn't it, with that dive?
Yeah, certainly would have been. Clark Hobson then over the try line, and that's Riders now 4 points to 2. So just over 4 minutes to go until the half-time interval.
Little shout out to the Hobsons who'll be watching at home, I'm sure.
They'll certainly be happy to see them go over the try line on that occasion as they come through the centre. Hot Custard once again. Jean Reverdy, first bit of action we've seen of him, and now back with number 20, Angus Goff, looking to go through. A turnover of possession. And this is, you almost feel this is an important period for Hot Custard. They don't want to go further behind just before the half-time break. If they can just keep Bareback Riders out and get maybe a try themselves, then just give them a bit of confidence.
Yeah, I think this is crucial. Like we said in that the last Wigan game, our game, it was last 5 minutes all. It's drop ball. Talk about that chemistry, and it didn't work there. Yeah, last 5 minutes and first 5 minutes of each half basically is crucial. So we'll see what the Hot Custard could do here. It'd be good if they could get a score back to make it interesting in the second half.
It certainly will be. Like you said, we saw it sort of the game swift change in momentum towards Wigan in that period just before half time and after. And Hot Custard looking to go through the centre once again. Angus Goff in the thick of things. Harry Goldman with Goff looking out wide once again.
And that's a score.
It is a score. We were just waiting for the referee's confirmation. We were just waiting to see what the referee gave. We were pretty much sure it was going to be a try, and it looked like it was Sophia Brown on the far side. And just as we say, Hot Custard needing a try before half time, and they've got one. Yeah,
they have, and it's exactly the same how they've scored the other two tries. They've gone against the grain, so they've always gone to their their short side, and it's always been a long ball to the wing, and they've finished it off pretty much three times now. So I think she dumped it on the wrong line and then got it. But is that a score? No, it's a touch.
Will Bareback Riders just be a bit disappointed in a sense? Maybe, obviously they've sort of been drawn into the middle and the space on the wings.
I think they'll definitely talk about that space. Have they got an overlap? Ball down. Yeah, we're always trying to create overlaps, but then it's once the ball goes long, it's how you stop that overlap and chase out. But costed 3 out of 3 on that short side long ball. So BBR will have a chat about that at half time.
So just about a minute and a half to go until the half-time interval. Bareback Riders leading by 4 points to 3. And most of the points for the Riders have come because of penalties conceded by Hot Custard, which I'm sure is another thing they'll have to look at the half-time break as they come through the centre once again, looking to try and create the space.
It's the same thing again. Angus Goff is having a blinder, and has he scored? No, that was a good last touch, that was. But basically it's the same team it's one thing per team, I could imagine. Defensively for BBR, stop the long ball or stop the short side long ball, and Custard stop the penalties from the drive. I think it's probably what I'd be saying at half time, or shouting as probably most people would say.
Trying to get your instructions across, I'm sure, at the half-time break. So just over 30 seconds to go then until the half-time interval. What's been another really intriguing game here on pitch 1, as we can hear the hooter going off in the background. So the last phase of play.
And they've got a penalty again, but it's a hooter, so they've got one play. No touches left. Should we see if we can see if they play some bro touch, or Clark's just going to throw the ball. And they play some bro touch.
Oh, and in they go. Absolutely unbelievable. Just before the half-time score, and a little few high fives going around, and that is the half-time interval. And it is Bareback Riders who go into the break the happier side. They lead in the second game here, the Belief Elite National Touch Series, round 1 in Banbury. The second half only moments away.
So the touch is the equivalent of a tackle in rugby union or rugby league. In touch, we get 6 of them to try and score a touchdown. Scoring a touchdown, you have those 6 touches, and the defence are trying to make all 6 to prevent you from scoring. You can also touch clothing, boots, legs, wherever in order to create that touch. You can have such thing as a hard tackle or a hard touch, which is where you put too much force into the touch. A heavy touch can be made by the attacker or the defender as well. The attacker putting too much force on the initiated touch, or the defender putting too much force into the push of the touch. An attacker can either initiate the touch to stop the defence from making it, or the defence can make the touch themselves. The attacker can make the touch to make a better roll ball and to keep the momentum in the attack.
So yes, welcome back. Second half then in the Belief Elite National Touch Series. BBR against Hot Custard, and it is the Bareback Riders leading by 5 points to 3. And we've just had our own substitution in the commentary box. I'd like to say, Jordan Melling, you are joining us in the commentary box. How are you doing?
I'm very well, yeah. A little bit tired after one of my teammates decided to fall over. Good score, BBR. Open up the second half with a nice little score in between the middles.
So it's a bit similar situation to your game in between Wigan next to getting points just before half time and after. And we were just speaking with Ben on the commentary, saying how vital that period was just before half time.
Yeah, really crucial for us. Like I said, we started the day with 6 boys, and then it was quite tough out there, having to stay on for multiple sets. But that period just before and after half time is massive, and to get ahead in those 5 minutes before and after was really crucial for us.
And I'm sure you'll be happy to get off the campaign with a win as well.
Yeah, always nice. We've got quite a few new faces, so it's a good way to start the day, makes everyone a little bit more relaxed.
So here come Hot Custard trying to reply in the early stage of the second half. They actually got off to a perfect start in the first, getting the opening try in the first 30 seconds. But good defence by the Riders on this occasion. And that number 21, Gareth Revel, bit of a linchpin in the middle of the Riders' side. The Wales mixed open player.
Moves well for a big man.
He certainly does. Very experienced, of course, as
yeah,
well.
Definitely, yeah. There's plenty of experience in this BBR team, which is why they always do so well.
Looking
straight
to go
through the middle again.
Yeah, looking to go through the middle. Just spaces opening up in this second half in the middle of the Hot Custard defence. Although on this occasion they get away with it and they can come away now.
Yeah, a lot of experience in this BBR team. A lot of them have played together for a long time, but they don't train together. And it is like saying that is really impressive that they always finish in the top two. Obviously, current champions, looking to retain it.
And speaking with Ben actually before on the commentary, the importance of seeing these new faces and your new team relative for yourselves. I'm sure it's only going to get better. I'm sure once as the campaign goes on.
For team, what
pass! That's unbelievable. Well, there we go. Try straight away. Bareback Riders. Miriam Evans. Look at the space she had. It was an unbelievable pass from Charlie Brett.
Inside. They just collapsed in a little bit. Did Custard? They're worried about that footwork near the line and that low dive from that middle, and it just looped it over the top.
And we were talking. It is almost sort of a game. Obviously a very clear game of tactics. Bareback Riders going through the middle in these opening couple of minutes, then suddenly space has just opened on the line.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's all about touches. A lot about progressions and going through those progressions of each move that you're running. And once you've figured out what works,
looking
good defence. I think onside there. Yeah, getting nice and low to the line, but the old man Ryan Meems gets nice and low and makes the touch.
Yeah, Ryan Meems, just another one of those players in the Bareback Riders side. And like you said, just a team so packed full of experience, and I'm sure that will help going throughout the tournament.
Here's another one. Clark Hobson.
Yeah, he had a fantastic first half, got himself on the score sheet.
Did he?
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Surprising for him. Oh.
And nearly getting through in that occasion. Although turnover now.
Clark was the only player at our World Cup that didn't score, so it did surprise me a bit that he's managed to get over for one. Good on him.
Well, starting off the series opening game try, I'm sure, like you said, he'll be happy with that one.
Yep.
As Gareth Ravel tried to go through on that occasion, but stopped.
So what you'll see here from Ryan and Gareth is just working through the progressions of each move. They'll probably look to run that same play again, that county step back. They'll look for Louis on the outside. They've managed to force some space. I'm not really sure how that has come about, to be honest. It looked like the move broke down a little bit. There was nobody at half. Ryan was planning for another move, and Louis just nipped in on the outside. I think Custard just switched off there. They're expecting something else, but it looks like they're running away with it a little bit. And it's that first 5 minutes after half time again. Whoever comes out the quickest and whoever is ready can easily run away with it. You can't win the game in that first 5 minutes, or the first 5 minutes after the second half, but you can definitely lose it.
No, you certainly can. And 5 point gap now opening up, and what was a very actually tight and close game in the first half is looking like it's going to be pretty comfortable for the Riders, and another opportunity missed for Hot Custard, and now it's got to the point where Hot Custard can't be making these mistakes.
No, they look like they're forcing a few things on the line now, and it's probably got to that point where they might have to start doing that. Whereas BBR, they're just rolling down the field, and they've got a penalty here, and that if they can get down to the line quick enough, they might get 3 or 4 shots on the Custard line.
And we're talking in the first half, they just seem so quick. As soon as there's a turnover possession, they're almost in the blink of an eye. They're right down the other end of the pitch.
Yeah, that's what the good teams are really good at, reacting to situations like that, reacting to to turnovers. And they've got another penalty here, so that they're in a really good position here. They've also got is that a 4 sub?
Yeah, it looks like it. So
for the time being, Custard are a man down against some very experienced attacking players, and Revel looking to exploit that on the outside. So they'll go back to Ryan here. They've got another penalty.
certainly getting themselves great opportunities, aren't they?
Definitely, yeah. And it's another thing for Custard as well. It's just killing the clock. It's just winding up and it's getting closer to that final 10 minutes. So what you might see here from BBR, they'll probably get a score at some point, whether they use the whole 6, with Ryan running a couple of 2-man plays with Clark. This is what they're good at. This is their bread and butter. So Ryan's just edging those 2 middles off the line. They'll work it back to something that they're comfortable with. Is that a touch pass?
Just looking at what the referee has signalled this occasion.
I think she's called the touch and Revel's passed it on. I'll be honest, I'm not sure what's given there. That could have easily been a turnover, but they've managed to keep the ball. So yeah, back to Ryan and Clark, back in the middle. They're running that 2-man stuff.
They certainly are.
That's nearly the first touch of that set. They didn't have to use the whole 6.
And like you said, actually, just before that, look how much time they've used up as well in that passage of play.
They've killed a good 2 or 3 minutes from the last time Custer had the ball, and they've got a score out of it. The 6 up, going into that last 10 minutes now. It's looking really tough for Custard here.
And it's just that game management, during the game, and looking like you've just mentioned there, 2 minutes gone, even though it's only the 1 try scored, but now with nearing a 7-point gap now, we've got 6 points at the moment. It's going to be tough work for Hot Custard. The final 10.
Yeah, and BBR are really good at that game management. They've played. Oh, that's nice. It's a short side shot from BBR from the girl link, and they've opened it up a little bit.
It was Romano Mekowicz going through. It was a nice build-up.
That's good footwork. That he's drawn that girl link in, just thinking that he's beaten the touch in middle. He's got on the outside of him, and BBR have been forced into a short side shot. 3-on-2. Nice little link hole.
Yeah, lovely from Hot Custard, and just gives them a little bit of confidence, even though they've still got a lot of work to do. But I'm sure they can take that in and stuff to work on going into their next couple of games. But once again,
I think that should have been a penalty. I think it was a really good bit of footwork from Lewis Burns, getting on the outside of his man. But that's big for Custard. They've defended another set out, whether it was should have been a penalty or not. If they can get up the field here and get a score, massive going into the last 10 minutes. That's what it's going to be about now, taking a bit of confidence into the next game.
Yeah, it certainly will. If they can just finish off their opening game brightly and just close the gap a bit, or even put the Riders under serious pressure, that will really give them a whole lot of good. Just on that occasion, couldn't pull it off. So turn over to Bareback Riders as we go into that final 10 minutes. And once again, we'll probably see just how quickly the Riders will make their way up the field once again.
Now they've got that bit of a gap, last 10 minutes, you might start seeing BBR slow it down a little bit, implementing that game management, that time management. They've played multiple tournaments in the past where they've been really low on numbers. I'm sure there was a tournament where they had the bare minimum of 6, maybe 7 players. So they literally had to run everything really slow and just get through games. If they were winning by 1, they were winning. And I think they got to the final on that occasion. Ryan again. Still got it.
He certainly has. And
falls over the line.
That's another point added, and it's
just a nice little sweeper play. Gussie's got to pull that big corner because he's worried about that outside, and the non-touching middle from Custard just didn't get under him enough to make that touch. And Ryan just goes in between the middle of them.
And that'll be in their minds, won't it, Hot Custard's defence, knowing they'll have to spread out a bit, obviously protecting the wings, and then, as we've just seen there, the space has just opened up in the middle.
Yeah. there'll always be whatever. If you run that move correctly, there will always be space. It's just about picking the right option. And BBR at the minute, they're being given a fairly easy option, and because they're so experienced, they're just more than happy to take it.
Certainly are. 31 and a half minutes gone then. Second game of the Belief Elite National Touch Series on pitch number 1. Just a reminder, our next game will be Nottingham Hoods against Chester Cheetahs. That was Ben Meakin's former club, of course.
It was.
Nottingham Hoods.
We managed to pry him away from his... Well, I was going to say his hometown, but he pretends that Wigan's his hometown now. He supports Wigan Warriors, but we're not really sure why. So yeah, we just tell him that it's his hometown boy.
Oh, there we go. Well, he was certainly delighted with the opening victories. I'm sure you are as well, Jordan. And
yep, very happy. Good team. You know, a couple of England players in that side. They won the University Touch Series. So yeah, it was a good win.
Next to new side, of course, in the
That's nice.
Belief Elite National Touch Series. Lovely play there.
Nice play, really good play, drawing both middles in. The link was
On the replay.
quite late to come in. Just picked up middle cut from half. Could have been a touch pass, probably just got the ball away. Really nice play.
There's Harry Goldman going over on that occasion. And a lovely bit of play from Hot Custard, and just as we keep saying, just adds a bit of confidence every time.
Yeah, that's what they've got to do. If they can get a couple of scores, defend a couple of sets out, they've just got to take that confidence into the next game. And you know, it's a long weekend. Things can change. Different. Oh, it's nice from Ryan. He's just got on the outside of the link.
And a lovely once again as they go through.
That link's come all the way across the middle to make that touch, and there's so much space on the outside.
And Gareth Revel also in the thick of it once again. Memjic going through. And that is 11-5 in favour of the Bareback Riders. So just opening up that gap once again. 33 and a half minutes gone. And just a reminder, of course, it is the first and second in the groups that go through to the Elite Cup quarter-finals. Those will be played tomorrow, which it's part of a weekend full of touch rugby. And just a quick question, just about the fitness. With people just watching for the first time. I mean, it's so intense, all the games, aren't they? And your fitness has to just be top-notch throughout.
Yeah. Yeah, you've got to have some sort of level of fitness to be running for 2 days, and some of the games are really quick. That first game was at points like it was a really quick game, and I'll be honest, not training since World Cup had caught up with me a little bit. So yeah, they are quick games, and everyone's at a really good standard now, and yeah, it's really good.
And how was your experiences at the World Cup? How was that for you?
Yeah, it was great. The conditions were just ridiculous. We were thinking about it before. I'm not sure really how we put ourselves through that. But yeah, really good experience. Disappointed to not get a medal, but at the end of the day, we're quite proud with what we did and how we did it. It was really good.
Well, 5 minutes to go then, and it is Bareback Riders in a commanding position, looking to go through once again. That's just a touch on the line as they look to come again.
So BBL just looking to slow it down now, last 5 minutes. Up by a good scoreline. Just going to run through those plays, run through those progressions. It's a great ball again by Lewis Burns.
Superb, and it is just before that Scottish link-up of Charlie Brett and Lewis Burns. Almost just see the
running
chemistry.
Through those progressions, like they ran that sweeper play before and went to that short side, and that time just fed it back. Little quarterback play from that sweeper, and there's plenty of space on the outside.
So Bareback Riders 6-point gap now opening up as we enter into the final 4 minutes. And it's looking like Bareback Riders will be getting off the mark with a win in the Belief Elite National Touch Series. Round 1 in Banbury in mind, of course. This is 3 rounds, of course. Manchester up next on the 15th and 16th of June, and then
Yes.
Oxford on the 29th and 30th. And I get a sense you're quite excited with that one.
Very happy. Don't have to get up early. Have to sit in a car for 3 hours.
Yeah, it's certainly a long drive, isn't it, from Wigan?
Well, most of us live in Manchester now, so it's going to be even easier. Can't wait.
Super stuff. That's over the weekend of the 15th and 16th of June, as they look to come through once again. Bareback Riders so quick and looking to get another score.
Gussie made that, yep.
It was brilliant play though, once again, opening it up through the middle.
They just have such a good flow down the field. Like I said, they don't train together, but a lot of them do play together with Scotland, with England, with Wales. And they have played previous seasons together, most of them. So they have that chemistry. They know what the end product is going to look like, and they all know how to get there. All really experienced players, and they just have such good flow down the field. It's difficult to stop.
They've certainly been pretty hard to stop in terms of Hot Custard trying to prevent any more tries. Bareback Riders looking to add another one now. Once again through the middle, and look at this.
Great ball. I think he's getting forward. That looked lovely coming out the hands, but it was just given forward.
Yeah, it was Pearl Kelly on the end of it as well, on the wing, and took it really nicely, but just forward.
Having a lot of success off that right hand of Lewis Burns. It's just the space is just opening up for him, and he's got that big right hand pass that when he executes well, it's really nice to watch.
Well, yeah, we've seen it in this second half work to their favours. Strauss looks to burst through.
Custard just looking to get something they can take into the next game now. Poor roll ball. So BBR will just look to close the game out now.
A minute and a half to go. That's on our clock, of course. We're listening out to the hooter, which will be bellowed across Banbury Rugby Club. Pearl Kelly laying it off for Gareth Revel. Now back with him again. Making up the yards, going through the centre once again. Little dummy. Mischek. Oh, what a pass!
Good defence from Custard.
Yeah, they did well in the end. Did Hot Custard, but that was a sumptuous pass.
It's lovely. It's just creating that space again. It was a good hole that looked forward. Nice little link hole. Ryan looked to exploit it. But yeah, good defence from Custard in the end. So probably one last chance to pull something back. Gussie's on the ball.
Here comes Strauss
here they
through
come
the
for
middle.
a strike play. No. And that's last. That's not what you want to see. And the ball will just go to ground.
Well, only seconds remaining then. And it's Bareback Riders who will be picking up the victory on this occasion. It's been a pretty comprehensive second half performance. A couple of tries in the first couple of minutes in the second half. And there is the handshakes, and that is full time in our second game of the morning. And it's Bareback Riders who have come out on top against Hot Custard. I'm sure the Bareback Riders will be delighted with the opening win.
Yeah, good start. The champs are here to play, so should be a good weekend.
It certainly will be. Don't go anywhere. Our next game on pitch number 1, it will be in the Elite Pool once again. Nottingham Hoods against Chester Cheetahs. Don't go anywhere.
A roll ball is the equivalent of a ruck in rugby union or a roll ball in rugby league. What we're looking for is a clear plant of the ball, no rolling of the ball physically despite it being called a roll ball, and we're looking for the clean ball for the half to come in and either scoop or pass the ball off the deck. So a roll ball is done by putting one part of the body over the ball. So there's 2 ways you can make a roll ball. You can either plant the ball and run through, as in over the top of the ball, or you can plant the ball and swing your foot around the front of it, which is called a quickie, to step to one side or the other faster than having to step all the way over the ball. So the roll ball has to be done where you are touched or initiate the touch. It also has to be placed between the legs, not to one side or the other, so that the ref can clearly see that you've either stepped over the ball or you've swung your foot around the front of it. In the roll ball, the hips of the person putting the ball down have to be square. By that they mean they have to be parallel to the pitch, not facing one side or the other. A three-man drive is an attacking play which we use to gain momentum. The three-man drive includes 3 players, a half, the person who dumps the ball, and the runner. These 3 players will alternate between themselves in order to create each person's role within that three-man drive. So it'll start with a roll ball, the half will then pass the ball off the deck to the first runner. This first runner will then become the person who dumps the ball, initiating the touch on the defender, for then the person who previously dumped the ball to become the half. A 4-man drive is a 3-man drive, but with another person. The 4-man drive can also be referred to as arrows, and what we're looking to do is the exact same principle as a 3-man drive, but just to add a secondary option of the runner. So you've got 1 runner on the left, 1 runner on the right, and the half will wrap around whichever way they pass the ball, becoming the runner. The best way to complete a 4-man drive or an arrows platform is to hit one side, i.e. to pass the ball to the left, and then to pass the ball to the right, the second runner, and then the left for the third, and so on. A buddy is a 2-man play which we use to create the momentum for a 3- or 4-man drive. A buddy involves the ball being put down, stepped over, the half will then pass back to that same person, and they will run straight into the 3- or 4-man drive.
Welcome back to Banbury. This is the Belief Elite National Touch Series, round number 1. We've already had 2 fantastic games on show for you on pitch number 1. And now we move on to our 3rd game. It's Nottingham Hoods against Chester Cheetahs. So here we go, our 3rd game of the afternoon. Nottingham Hoods against Chester Cheetahs. And I'm delighted to say we are joined with Ryan Mimshek. How are you doing, Ryan? Good opening win.
Very well, thank you very much, and thank you very much for having me. Yeah, good little run out. Good win for us, 13-6 I think, so happy with that.
So yeah, it was a hot custard. Got off to a very quick start, but you managed to turn it around. And we've talked to a couple of players today how important that period is just before half time and after.
One of my old coaches used to say that scores on half time count for double. I think he's probably right in that. It's quite demoralising if you could go down by even just 1 at half time. It just puts you in the driving seat a little bit to go forward.
It certainly does. And first look at Chester Cheetahs. 1 minute on the score clock already gone. Looking to go through the centre again.
Lots of playmaking here from Liam Lawton, Northwest compadre. Deceptively old for what he actually looks. Must be pushing the big 3-0 now. Yeah, he's a very, very talented player. Making his work rate is very, very good, so I look forward to seeing that in this game. We've got a young Hood side as well. Quite a few players coming back after the World Cup. We've got Kate just coming off there. We've got Will Lupton pinging that ball out there. So he's just come back from obviously playing mixed open. I'm expecting some pretty big things and some good little plays coming out.
They certainly are, and here come Nottingham Hoods on their first attack. And like you said, Ryan, lots of experience in that Nottingham side. Kate Davies-Bavin, Julia Kang, William Lupton, Sadie Meakin, Eleanor Pitcher, just some really good players in this Nottingham Hoods club, and it should be a fascinating game between with them and Chester Cheetahs.
Yeah, it looks like it's picking up in pace. We've got a good few drives there. They've chosen to come back out, isolating single shooters.
Looking to go through the centre once again. It'd be interesting to see how the game management and tactical footprints will play out throughout the game. Quick passing, looking to offload the ball as quickly as possible. Good movements through the centre. And this has been a brilliant start.
Yeah, so there's quite a lot of work been done by that high middle there. So he's come all the way across the pitch. He's left himself a lot of work to get back onside and cover out. He's obviously then checked to come back inside, and that's just forced that female link to step in. So well worked by Chester, well spotted. Maybe a bit of a defensive lapse there, maybe just asking a little bit much of that player.
And in terms of the bareback riders, of course, looking to retain the cup this year.
It's probably a little bit early for that sort of chat, I think. Just happy to be here, playing in the sun, back in Nottingham, out of the heat of Malaysia. So it's we'll go okay. I'm looking forward to playing against a few friends, playing against the England boys that are back as well.
And then come Nottingham Hoods and reply straight away. So a good response from going one down in the opening couple of minutes.
Oh dear, so just a hammer line, i.e. player coming in from out, straightens him up, a little slip on the line which stops him recovering, and yeah, we're back in 1-1.
Another electric start to the game. We've seen it in both the opening matches so far on pitch number 1. And just a bit about the World Cup. How was your experience in general? How much did you enjoy getting out there?
Yeah, fantastic experience as always. That's my third now. Each one as the standard's gone up and up and up. First one playing men's open, so good opportunity to see what the best in the world are doing, and they're doing pretty well, I have to say. Damn sight hotter, considerably hotter. Yeah. To a detriment somewhat. It does stop you playing kind of the way you want to play to a degree. So who would have thought? I'd love to be back in Nottingham, Banbury or Manchester, any of the above.
Yeah, I've heard from multiple players and people today about the heat in Malaysia was just almost unbearable at times.
Yeah, you spend probably 90% of your time just wet through, just the humidity, absolute killer.
So we're just approaching the 5-minute mark. Nottingham Hoods looking to try and just turn things around after going one down in the opening couple of minutes.
Yeah, they look like they're trying to think a little bit more rather than putting the pace on it. So they've got Will Lupton just running a back door there, isolating a player, and they're opening sort of semi-gaps, half gaps here, just maybe a little bit of realignment, a little bit more depth, and they should pick off a couple of easy scores. Talking of which, there's the repeat set. A little defensive lapse should I say, as Will's picked up and just fed somebody a bit of a dummy and gone on the outside. Obviously half can't score, so looking to find that extra player, and a necessary bat down by the male left mid.
So yeah, another chance here for Nottingham Hoods to try and unlock the Cheetahs' defence, looking to go through the centre again. Oh, there we go.
So just run exact copy in terms of the ML, the hammer, and this time decided to straighten the player up and go on the inside. The mid here just struggles a bit to find the line. He's also not looking at his player, which doesn't help him, unfortunately.
So after being 1 down in the opening minutes, Nottingham back into the lead 2-1 after 6 minutes. And how can Chester Cheetahs respond to this? To go through the middle once again, looking to burst through that quick acceleration.
Yeah, we started at quite a lot of pace, and we've slowed down considerably, and that lack of movement is just allowing defences to settle. Nottingham obviously training quite a bit, so their defensive shape is relatively good. They know what they're doing. You need to get these sort of players and these sort of teams moving out of shape, offside, and at the moment Chester are just being lulled into that game.
Yeah, as they look to go on the wing attack. Couple of touches left to go. Can they break through? Just a cheeky little pass there, trying to get almost as a trick the Hoods defence, but turnover.
It's very standard from Liam. Did it actually at Nationals with an interception and decided to throw it round his back to a player. Fortunately we scored, so as a coach wasn't too worried about that, but yeah, he's got very, very good hand-eye coordination, very good skill set.
And here come Nottingham Hoods once again through the centre, just slowing things down, like you said, Ryan. It's been a game which has suddenly burst into life and then slowed down considerably.
Yeah, it looks like Hoods are being quite methodical in what they're trying to do. They're looking to pick on certain players. So at the moment, they're looking at that high mid and the male link, which is what Will's slowing it down to do, just to try and cause those one-on-one situations. And that's also causing Chester to have to throw the ball around, as I said before, trying to get some momentum, trying to break that shape. And unfortunately, the more you try, the less likely it is to come off, in my experience.
Yeah, just being put under a bit of pressure and looking, just trying to force it maybe a little too much. As Hoods once again looking to come forward and breaking through the middle once again. Nice little layoff, and this is quick, decisive play, and that's brilliant once again by the Nottingham Hoods.
Yeah, again, they're looking at that ML hammer platform. The defence are backing off, sucking, some would call it, and that just allows an easy run around on the outside.
And there we go, after 8 minutes, Nottingham Hoods, after being 1 down, are well into a bit of a lead now, and they're playing with some swagger and confidence.
Yeah, Chester need to have a think about what they're doing here rather than sucking. There's an argument for posting high, so using your defensive high middle, getting up there, taking the time away, which gives you bigger separation between your defensive player. So perhaps we'll see that change up come.
Looking to go wide on this occasion, and you could just see almost what the Chester Cheetahs are trying to do, is just suck in that defence into the middle and create the space out wide, but on that occasion just not pulling off.
Yeah, again, a little bit of a half gap on the outside. They're hoping to beat players for pace and hands at the moment. It's an interesting little overstep there. Yeah, I thought that was about to be called. We've allowed it to go quickly. KDB offside, arguably, still. And there's the penalty. Good reffing. You can't go quickly again. He's not giving the mark.
Yeah, looking to try and break towards the goal line as quickly as possibly can. Referee's just bringing it back. For a chance now for Chester Cheetahs to use that little yardage to try and break through.
It's a very good effort. Again, running the same play as Nottingham, looking at that hammer line, kicking in to out, so trying to beat the player on the outside. Here it is again.
Well, there we
That's
go.
Very well worked. So kicking out on the first one conditions the player to actually pull a little bit further than he'd want to, which you can see here on the outline. Makes the touch, squared up, turns his hips out. He's beaten, which means he needs saving. That's what happens, and that leaves a gap between the link for an easy touchdown.
So he does. And Chester Cheetahs, well, they needed that score, and they've got one. And back towards only a gap of 1. Okay, here they come once again, Nottingham Hoods.
Same move, same result. Very good score again.
And 4-2 in the blink of an eye, just as soon as Chester Cheetahs had managed to get themselves sort of feel like they were back into it, have suddenly conceded once again. Is it just sort of that mentality to think when you've just scored, let's get our defensive heads on again?
I think for us, whenever we go out, we don't count the score until that second set has gone, because it's very rare that you get a sport where you effectively are given a free kick after you've just scored. You've got 6 touches to have a go on the line. I can't think of a single other sport that allows you that opportunity. So yeah, we don't count our scores until you defended it out. So until you've had those 6 touches. Unfortunately, in the last situation, it's probably a good lesson for young touch players, and it's about body position. That mid at making it with arguably the wrong hand, but definitely turning the wrong way, faces inwards, which just gives the outside shoulder. So very important you're making it with your inside hand, pulling out, profiling as we call it, looking up, scanning to see what the half's doing, trying to read what the cue is, whether the player's going to pass, whether he's going to run, where you can't do that obviously if your back's turned.
You certainly can't. And that allowed the space to be opened up, and Nottingham Hood's certainly capitalised on it. So 12 minutes gone, and the Nottingham Hoods 4-2 to the good.
Absolutely. They're probably a little bit unfortunate there. They've been given a forward pass, absolutely obvious, but there was a player in the ruck who's actually nudged the half backwards. So Chester come up with one of those 50-50 calls, and somebody up there squares it back up and gives the ball back to Nottingham.
So Nottingham Hoods in the group in Pool B, and Chester Cheetahs in Pool D. Of course, that's how it works. A plays C and B plays D, and looking to try and add to that scoreline once again. Just looking at the referee's decision, and gives it.
Same move, same result. Again, this is kind of where you're desperate for Chester to get to half-time, so they can have a coach who can come in, give them a bit of a chat about it, work out what they're going to do to defend that, because at the moment, making it isn't working for them. Being proactive isn't something they've tried yet, and unfortunately sucking as well hasn't worked for them.
Yeah, like you said, they've pretty much almost all their tries have come through that move, and Chester Cheetahs, I just think, need to just regroup a bit and organise themselves. They look to come through the centre once again.
So again, not the best result for Nottingham, but he has put himself in the passing channel and he's made that very, very difficult. If he doesn't get hands to that to score, as we could clearly see. Let's see what Chester can do with 6.
Can they manage to break through and get another point on the board?
Again, they're running that hammer, looking for the space, which they started to get there. They did get a little bite from the link. Although they've now switched sides, so they've let that player off the hook a little bit. Sometimes you have to be a little bit ruthless in this game.
And the turnover looked like initially going to be the turnover possession, but that, of course, why would that be? And here come Chester Cheetahs once again, looking to try and use up all their touches, switching it from right to left, looking to try and create the space.
Not the worst place to turn over the ball though, pushes Nottingham a fair way away from their box. And I imagine these players will probably want to get off now because they've done a bit of a shift.
Yeah, they certainly have. And as we've said in the opening 2 matches, fitness is just such an important part of touch rugby. It's such an intense game.
It absolutely is, and the fitness component has really started to come to the forefront of the English game. Players are coming in now far fitter than they ever have, and it's paying dividends for the speed of the game as well as injury prevention as well.
It certainly is. All the games we've seen, including this one, have just, even though this has been probably a bit of a slower paced game than the opening 2, it's certainly been quick and high intensity and such a high tempo to all the games. Chester Cheetahs looking to get some yards up the field, looking to break away. This is a bit more like it. This is a bit nicer play, quicker, incisive through the middle and out wide. And
well, it's just unfortunately no half at that point, which slows it down. And again, you can just see the more experienced players are a little bit quicker at being at half. They kind of know where they need to be, and it allows them just to flow a little bit better. Which at the moment it's definitely in favour of Nottingham. So that was smart from Sadie. It's a play that's not often really talked about, but when a player's offside, you're obviously going through, you do not want to initiate the touch as you normally would, because obviously you put them back on side. So just keeping our arms down, running through, waiting for the referee's call.
And here come Nottingham Hoods once again. And just waiting, trying to find a man.
Very casual from Will there.
It certainly was, wasn't it? Yeah.
Seemed to have decades of time to make that decision.
Not executed on this occasion, and Chester Cheetahs now try to get at the other end as quickly as possible.
This is better though. There's players at half, there's players picking up. Good transition now. If we get a drop in the middle and go, we could be away. Just forcing that last pass.
Yeah, and 3 minutes to go. This is that period we've been talking about just before half time, and where a game can certainly change, certainly change the momentum. If Nottingham can get a couple more tries for half time, that will really sucker punch Chester Cheetahs.
Yeah, I think if you're down by 3 at half time, it's an ask, but it is doable. Down by 5, game's certainly starting to get away from Chester at this point.
Here they come, look at this again, and nearly comes off. It was nearly a really nice move.
Yeah, very clever there, putting KDB on a passive line by the looks of it. So just allowing that ball to go in front of her, obviously, but behind the initial lead player. As a defender, that makes you want to push in and make the touch on the first lead player. Just opens up a bit of space. So it's nice to see Nottingham getting a bit creative now, moving away from the hammers.
Looking to go through the centre then, Chester Cheetahs.
Just that little pause on the pickup there just means that the player's allowed to get back on side, set his feet, he's allowed to change direction once he's made that, and just lets Nottingham sort of fall back into their structure.
So a couple of minutes to go until the half-time break.
You just see a little bit of a grit stepping into the game here. I've just watched the female link for Chester, which I think is Olivia Harbour. Just making a little off-the-ball touch, which is interesting. And that's a great score.
Well, just before half-time as well, which is always very crucial. And Nottingham now extend that gap to 4 points. Look at the space.
What a lovely, lovely put down there in the corner.
Absolutely superb. And with a minute to go, Nottingham Hoods extend that lead to 6-2 over Chester Cheetahs. And I think Chester will be wanting the half-time break just to regroup.
Absolutely. Just talking about that put down. It looks as if it's a bad ball, but actually it's a skill in itself. Obviously, as the half goes through, you're wanting to get that ball down, but you're also not allowing players to catch that winger as they're dumping it down. Our England winger is very, very good at it. The ability to kind of watch the ball whilst it gets to sort of 2 inches off the turf and then putting the pressure on it. It's often not talked about, but a fantastic skill to have in the tool set.
Yeah, it certainly is. So seconds to go until the half-time break. Can Nottingham even add a 7th? Of course, always waiting for that hooter for the final passage of play. Nice quick hands. And there is that hooter. Can they add another one? No, they can't, as we reach the half-time interval, and it is Nottingham Hoods who have taken a sizable lead going into the second half. They lead by 6 points to 2. The second half will be in around about 5 minutes' time. Don't go anywhere.
The Mexican standoff starts when the defensive team make their 5-metre line. The moment one person from the 6 step into that 5-metre line, the whole team then has to move forward until the touch is either imminent or initiated. The Mexican standoff has one other rule where the attacking team, if they enter the 5-metre channel, the defensive team no longer have to walk up. But until then, the defensive team have to move forward until the touch is imminent.
Forward 44! Gotta stay forward, gotta stay up. Still forward, no pulling back early. Still up, 27, stay up. Stay up. Now drop. Scoreline, girls.
So welcome back to Banbury for the Belief Elite National Touch Series Round 1. We're into our third game of the afternoon as we see Nottingham Hoods take on Chester Cheetahs. But just before we get underway in the second half, just a couple of scores. So of course our action has been focusing on field number 1 and field 2. So Cambridge Hornets beats London Galaxy. Guildford Force taking on Cambridge Bees, a 9-6 win for them. And then a couple of wins in pitch number 3, Nottingham Mavericks and CSSC, and CSSC getting the win in field 4 as well. And Revolution, a new club as well, based in the Midlands, getting underway with a victory also. But our attention is on pitch number 1, and Nottingham Hoods taking on Chester Cheetahs, and it's Nottingham Hoods who have the lead going into the second half. How will they approach, Ryan, this second half? Of course, we've talked it, in length throughout the morning about that period just before and after half time. If they can just get a couple of tries now, I think that will seal the deal almost.
Yeah, this is quite a big set to start. As I say, 6 touches on the line here. There are a good few scores up. This can kind of set the tone for the next 20 minutes, I think. I'm hoping that Chester have maybe had a chat about how they're going to defend that hammer play that Nottingham are running. You can see Will Lupton setting into that position to run it. That's ran on the wrong player, so it should... I was going to say it shouldn't be a score. There shouldn't have been holes there.
Well, they certainly have got off to the perfect start. 25 seconds in, and just as we talked about getting those early scores on the board, and they've done just that, and now they open a 5-point gap.
Yeah, both middles looking at each other there, like who should have made that? Who should have stepped up? And that's the answer to it. They did the right thing. They presented the wrong middle for the hammer, and then unfortunately the right player didn't step up to close down the time. Gave Will plenty of time to use his feet, which he did.
Well, he certainly did. And Chester Cheetahs, a lot of work to do, and they'll need to make sure they utilise every opportunity now to get on the scoreboard. Looking to go through the middle once again. Can they open some space up on the wings, but just way over. And,
Right decision though, wrong
yeah.
execution unfortunately. You can see, if you'd have watched the play there, the link, which is in this case Sadie Meakin for Nottingham, shooting in to close that play down, which just leaves a 2-on-1 outside effectively. To say, right decision, wrong execution. So they get another 6 cracks at this to see if they can make that work.
Yeah, you can certainly see what they were trying to do, but yeah, another good opportunity now for Chester to try and head towards the try line.
So that's very clever. They've run a back door, they've run it on the mid, who looked like he struggled to get onside. Ref appeared to call play on. He's now looking at a deviation call. However, he must have given the penalty. So again, 6 more. Puts Nottingham at a bit of a disadvantage here because they won't want to give away another penalty, because you'll be looking at players going to the bin. So same player, same play, steps one way, still not made it onside.
And again, just not quite for Chester Cheetahs. They're just getting closer and closer. It's almost the same run-of-the-mill stuff.
So I think they're just going back slightly too far here. So if they make it sort of 6-7 out, the ref's going to make that player get back to the line. Because they're making it kind of 8 and 9 out, the ref's only calling them within sort of a metre of the line. No clear point of reference for neither the player nor the ref, and it causes a bit of confusion.
And another opportunity missed there for Chester Cheetahs, looking to go in on the wings and turnover, and now Nottingham Hoods can come away with this, although they lose out, and now Chester Cheetahs with another opportunity.
So they've got obviously a fresh defensive set on, so they haven't got the condition that you've just done on the back door work, so it'll be interesting to see what they go to here. Looks like they ran a 32 on there, so that's mid dragging out to link. Just seen the far link for Chester Bolt, so looking to bring on another attacking threat.
So looking to go through the centre once again, although a collapse and turnover for Nottingham Hoods, and every time those chances are missed, you just feel it's obviously another opportunity to score gone, and now Nottingham Hoods could try and come away with it, and lose possession again. It's been a bit scrappy in the last couple of minutes.
It has. It's slightly, bar the score, been in favour of Chester. We've got 2 turnovers there against Nottingham within their own half, which should give Chester a good opportunity to put some groundwork in. You don't necessarily need to score on every set. You need to do some work to either isolate a player, tire a player out, or convince them you're going to do something which you decide not to do at a later date. A little bit of confusion, ball on the floor for far too long.
And yeah, the turnover begins, and just a quick tap and go, and looking to try and break through the centre once again, making up some yardage every time. Nottingham Hoods quick insightful passing. Nottingham Hoods looking for that opening now as they reach the 5 metre mark. It's lovely work, and not on this occasion. It certainly is though. A lovely try going through.
Yeah, a lot of confusion within that defence. You've got Liam, who is at the moment at left middle, telling his right middle to go across. You've got the right link shooting in to try and shut the play down, and eventually just everybody working off a different page leads to an easy walk in.
So a 6-point gap now opening up for the Nottingham Hoods. Another mistake once again, and these are just is that just lack of confidence maybe now, or just feeling that pressure obviously with that 6-point gap?
There's a lot of what we'd probably refer to as coach killers going on here. There's a couple going in from oversteps, there's drop balls, there's bad body positioning. It could be a little bit of fatigue setting in. I'm not saying it's the warmest out there, but it's hot enough. People have been running for 20 minutes, and if you're not used to running at this intensity, then yeah, you can kind of forgive some of those mistakes.
And then they come once again, and that was just patient and just it was looked really actually calm and composed, just drawing the players away. And there was that run through the middle that opened up the space. And Nottingham Hoods now again seeing the high fives on the touchline. Really good work, and Nottingham Hoods now lead by 9 points to 2.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll be very happy with this. They're starting to pull away, and they've still got another sort of 14, 13 minutes to do a bit more damage. For Chester, they can probably start to think of this as a bit of a training run. How they're going to improve, how they're going to change the little behaviours that they're struggling with.
Just taking their time over this one, and then looking to try and create that angle. And the slight touch just before.
Good diving effort though. Just the experience there of the Nottingham player standing exactly where his sixth touch was going to be.
Yeah, it certainly is. And turnover possession. So, as reaching the 28-minute mark, Nottingham Hoods still in a commanding position, looking to try and break towards the halfway.
Yeah, Chester trying to shut down plays a little bit earlier and take some sting out of Nottingham's attack, but unfortunately they're shooting in ones and twos, which is being easily picked off by Nottingham through either quick little inside passes or from good footwork. That's again leaving them a little bit short at the line. So there's the wrong hand again, back turned. That's caused him a lot of problems. You can see the ref possibly blowing a penalty here for deviation.
So an opportunity now, Nottingham Hoods. And is this just the game management part of it, just almost slowing it down, and they can almost take the time with it this time around?
Yeah, I think they're literally just picking out the players that they want and running the plays they want to run. No changes really in terms of what they're trying to do. They're just trying to exploit that high middle who then turns, looks away, tries to find the line, and nobody else popping up and getting off the line. You can see that shot actually is really helpful because you can see everybody just stood on it. If you're making a touch on the line, 50% of the time it's going to go against you. You want to get back, hit that line, get off, put a couple of steps between you and it, and then get down low.
So into double figures then, Nottingham Hoods, 8-point gap opened up as we are entering into the final 10 minutes.
Say final 10 minutes, that's a long 10 minutes for Chester at the moment.
Certainly is. And now I think, as you mentioned previously, it is just about maybe just building up a bit of a rhythm now, just in those final 10 minutes, maybe picking up a few points when you can. It's crucial going into the into your next couple of group games. Looking to go through the centre once again. Try to be quick layover, but not on this occasion.
So again, whilst Will gives away the six again there, you can see he's popped up into the channel. Oh, referee's changed his mind. He's heard something from the sideline. He did exactly what he should have done. He got off the line, he stepped up into the channel, he kept his hands free of the ball so he's not played at it, and he's forced a turnover.
So on the halfway, but a turnover in possession in favour of Chester Cheetahs now. I should say now Nottingham Hoods. Bit of confusion there.
Yeah, it looked like the referee was signalling for a player in the ruck, although I'm not sure I saw that. So that looked like that was played at, so it looks like we'll get 6 touches again.
Lovely, quick play. Can he get through? Oh,
It's a fantastic grounding.
that is absolutely sensational. And Nottingham Hoods have their 11th point on the board. And having another look at
Yes, that's
this
lovely,
again.
lovely run round. Liam's done what he should have done. He's made himself 7 foot tall, and that grounding is fantastic. He's tracked himself along the line, which you want to do as an attacker. You want to give yourself as much room to work and as much room for your half to work. Track along that line and then just dab it down at the very last minute. So we've had a couple of really good put downs on scoop plays so far.
We certainly have. Nottingham Hoods have been pretty comprehensive, and they've looked every part of the experience that shows as Chester Cheetahs look to try and drive forward. But a turnover now, and this is going to be a long, as we've mentioned, a long 8 minutes now.
Equally, Nottingham doing well. They've taken their foot off. They're not driving particularly hard. They're just picking off those 1 or 2 players who are shooting up to hold space. Should do it again, manipulating the shape, winding down those 8 minutes.
Yes, this is sort of a time now, maybe for Nottingham Hoods to conserve a bit of that energy, knowing that they've won the game, and as we've mentioned, it's a long day, a long weekend potentially. If you obviously the further you go, so it could be an important 10 minutes just to conserve a bit of energy.
Yeah, absolutely. You never want to peak on game 1. You want to get through this with no injuries, a decent score up, and as much energy as you can keep going forward for games 2, 3, and obviously if you make quarters, semis and finals.
Well, certainly, as the clock ticks over to 33 minutes gone, and Chester Cheetahs will be just wanting to try and get a bit of confidence into their game again. They started off really well, trying the opening couple of seconds and looking to go through this occasion, and they certainly have, so that'll be a bit of a confidence booster.
Yeah, that was lovely actually. So they've run what looks like a short again. Players packed in, including the female link, which is KDB, and Wing and Link talking to each other there, not quite on the same page. One packing in, one staying wide. Leaves a huge gap in the middle, and they execute really nicely. It's a good little right to left ball.
Yes, Jake Morris going over the trial on that occasion, and a good score for Chester Cheetahs, although it is still Nottingham Hoods in a commanding position. Looking to try and break, and in they come once again. And another try, and that's, again, another fantastic build-up play and a score for Nottingham Hoods.
It was. You've unfortunately got that player who's in the ruck, which means you're defending with 5 on 6, and these players are good enough to execute on that.
Certainly are. I talked about the experience in this Nottingham Hood side, and they're certainly showing it against Chester Cheetahs here on pitch 1. So just a reminder, of course, still plenty of action left throughout the day. Our next game will be in the Premiership pool, Galaxy Knights taking on Cambridge Bees, and that'll be next up here on pitch number 1. So just over 5 minutes to go in this one. Nottingham Hoods in total control against Chester Cheetahs. Well, it's been a pretty comprehensive win. So just under 5 minutes to go, and Chester Cheetahs looking to try and just add something to the scoreboard if they can.
So it's interesting they're looking at that setup, that 32 which they scored off. I'd be tempted to say he could have possibly slid in there. A little bit of a reluctance to dive, and understandably it's a little bit hard out there, a little bit heavy. Nottingham have done very well there to push them right the way out, sort of 10 to 15 metres. Gives them an easy defence.
Yeah, looking to go from right to left, looking for those corners, but being stopped at the touchline. And a turnover possession, and now Nottingham Hoods with under 4 minutes to go have a chance to break away. Oh, lovely little mazy run through the centre and get it back and keep possession flowing.
Yeah, he looks like he's having a lot of fun out there.
Yeah, he certainly is. Almost with a smile on his face, wasn't he, when he was running through? And looking to go again. Oh, lovely quick build-up play. And they're over the line once again. That was a really, well, fantastic passage of play, starting in the middle with that mazy run through the centre and then just quick, incisive play. And that's the 13th point.
Yeah, lovely quick hands in the corner. Looked, again, very comfortable, though. It's a pretty difficult skill to master, passing and catching under pressure.
Yeah, on that occasion, he got it right. So, absolutely superb from Nottingham, who have been brilliant throughout this game and have been really clinical when the chances have come their way. So just over 2.5 minutes left on the score clock, of course. The clock might just be slightly wrong. We always wait for the hooter to sound for the final passage of play.
Nice to see that Chester haven't given that up. The referee's calling that was half. Liam aware that he wasn't. It's good to see as well from the sportsmanship from Nottingham. They're saying you've got that wrong. He's not half. We're quite happy to play on.
So just a nice passage of play from Chester Cheetahs, although the turnover now comes. So under 2 minutes to go, and Nottingham Hoods will have their first win on the board, and I'm sure this will give them the world of good going into their next 2 pool games. How much? I mean, how big is it? You know, the confidence you can get from an opening win. You know yourselves, you got your win on the first win on the board. How important is it?
Massive. You don't want to go into a day where you're already chasing wins and chasing points and scores and all that sort of stuff. It just adds pressure that you don't need. So an opening win, particularly a big one like this, just ease you in. It gets rid of the nerves. It gets rid of the journey, the sort of cobwebs, if you will. As I say, some of these players obviously played only a couple of weeks ago against the best in the world, so maybe not as many cobwebs there. But it's just very, very important to get you running through your patterns and get yourself your first breath, if you will. And Nottingham seem to have done that very, very well.
They certainly have, and they've picked up another one, and that's the 14th of the board. And you just saw that little quick dummy and straight down, and that's 14 points on the board. It's almost like they're playing a bit of swagger now about their play, even though there's only a couple of seconds to go.
Yeah, we said it earlier on. It's a learning curve for Chester. They'll get better. They need to square up a couple of things. Their basic kind of decision making, how they're running, maybe not getting as intimidated. They've probably given Nottingham a little bit more respect than they're due. No offence to Nottingham, but they're allowing Nottingham to dictate, and unfortunately that's cost them a little bit.
And it was nearly an inch perfect pass, and if she could have just taken it down, that would have been a really nice try. But on that occasion, hasn't gone their way. So only a couple of seconds left to go. There's the hooter. And there is the end of the game, and it's a comprehensive win for Nottingham Hoods over Chester Cheetahs. So Nottingham Hoods, well-deserved victory and some brilliant tries throughout the game.
Yeah, it should make a very good highlights package for them. I'm sure they'll be very happy to see themselves on the big screen later on. It puts them in a good start, and it allows them to go in with a bit of momentum to the next few games.
All right, thank you very much, and we will now move on to our 4th game of the day, which will be Galaxy Knights against Cambridge Bees. That's coming up next.
In touch, you can have rolling substitutions. The attacking team will use this in their favour in order to get fresh legs onto the pitch. A subbing move will usually take place when a defensive turnover occurs. A subbing move can be anything from a backdoor play or a 3-man drive in order to get the space on the field for 3 or 4 fresh players to come onto the pitch. When subbing on, you have to enter in an onside position in what's called the gate. This is the 10-metre channel from both sides of the pitch, and you have to enter onto the pitch and off the pitch through this gate as well. A touchdown is the only way to score points in touch. A touchdown happens when the ball is grounded with downward pressure on or over the whitewash. The ball can be touched down but needs to be under control, and there needs to be downward pressure. A touchdown is worth 1 point. As there are no conversions in touch, you can score anywhere along the line, and as long as there is downward pressure and it is under control.